Have you ever met someone who just seems to operate on a different frequency? Someone who talks about ideas that haven't even crossed your mind yet? Chances are you were talking to an Aquarius. There's something about them, an energy that feels like it's always chasing the future, always dreaming a little bigger, thinking a little deeper, and moving just a few steps ahead of everyone else. They're not just marching to the beat of their own drum, they're composing symphonies no one else can hear yet. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, the planet of rebellion, innovation, and sudden change. That tells you a lot right from the start. These people were never meant to blend in. They were born to shake things up, to break the mold, to challenge the status quo. And they do it not for attention, but because they genuinely see a different way forward. It's like their minds are wired for progress. While others are reacting to what is, Aquarians are imagining what could be. They're often labeled as rebels, but the truth is deeper. They don't rebel just to be difficult. They rebel because they can't help but notice what's broken, outdated, or unfair. And they believe with every fiber of their being that change is not only possible, but necessary. It's not unusual for an Aquarius to be years ahead of their time, proposing ideas that make people uncomfortable now, but will seem obvious in the future. They're not reacting to problems. They're intuitively sensing future solutions. You can spot them early. Even as children, Aquarians ask the weird questions. They challenge teachers. They propose wild theories. They want to know why things are the way they are. And they rarely accept just because as an answer. That curiosity never dies. It evolves. As they grow older, their questions get bigger, and so do their dreams. Their minds are laboratories of potential, constantly testing out theories for better ways of doing things. Conversations with an Aquarius are never ordinary. They're the ones who will talk to you about the ethics of artificial intelligence, the potential for sustainable cities on Mars, or how to redesign education so that creativity, not conformity, is the standard. And the best part? They mean every word. They're not fantasizing. They're strategizing. They see patterns others don't. They connect dots others didn't even notice were there. They don't just see the future. They plan for it. They anticipate patterns. They understand how systems connect. They notice trends long before they go mainstream. If a major shift is coming, technological, cultural, or social, there's a good chance an Aquarius has already mapped out the consequences. Not in a speculative way, but with clarity that feels prophetic. But it's not always easy being that far ahead. Imagine constantly seeing possibilities that others can't grasp yet. Imagine living in a world where you feel like you're explaining color to someone who's never seen light. It can be isolating. Many Aquarians feel misunderstood, not because they don't try to connect, but because their thoughts are so expansive, so future-focused, that it can be hard for others to keep up. That loneliness often becomes a quiet burden. And yet they keep going. Because deep down, Aquarius isn't driven by ego. They're driven by a desire to contribute, to make things better, to innovate for the good of all. They're idealists, yes, but not in a dreamy, detached way. They believe in progress that works, systems that serve people, and revolutions that actually lead to evolution. And that's what makes them unstoppable. In relationships, they can be a bit of a puzzle. They need mental stimulation like air. They fall for people who can challenge their minds, who aren't afraid to question them, who can see the world through a unique lens. But they also need space, lots of it. Emotional clinginess doesn't sit well with Aquarius. They need to feel free to explore, to think, to dream. And when they find someone who gets that, someone who doesn't just accept their weirdness, but celebrates it, that's when they really open up. Their love is deep, just expressed differently. You might think all of this makes them cold or detached, but that's just surface level. Underneath, Aquarius is deeply compassionate. They care a lot, but instead of expressing it through dramatic displays, they often show it by working on a bigger scale. They care about humanity, about justice, about the planet. While others are focused on personal gain, Aquarius is out here designing solutions for global issues. They dream in collective terms. They believe in the power of ideas to change lives. And more importantly, they believe that those ideas should be shared freely. You'll find them in collaborative projects, open source movements, and think tanks that aim to democratize knowledge. They're the ones advocating for decentralized systems, ethical technology, and new forms of leadership that don't rely on outdated hierarchies. They can seem aloof, sure, but talk to them about something real, something visionary, something that questions the rules, and you'll see them light up. That sparkle in their eye, that's the future calling. They thrive on meaningful conversation and intellectual synergy. And here's the thing, they're not always right. Sometimes their ideas are too early. Sometimes their solutions are too complex. But that doesn't stop them, because Aquarius understands something most people don't. Progress doesn't happen without risk. You can't change the world by playing it safe. And if failure is part of the journey, so be it. They learn from it and recalibrate. For them, the process is part of the purpose. They're not afraid to be the only one in the room who sees things differently. They thrive on originality. They celebrate the unconventional. And while others are asking, what if it doesn't work? Aquarius is out there saying, what if it does? They dare to hope when others hesitate. You see, Aquarius doesn't just think outside the box. They live outside of it. They question why the box exists at all. They build new boxes, then promptly destroy them when something better comes along. They are the architects of possibility. They live in a realm where potential is infinite and boundaries are illusions. In the workplace, you'll often find them in roles where they can innovate, whether it's in tech, science, social reform, or art. They crave environments that challenge the norm. Routine is their kryptonite. They need to feel like their work matters, not just today, but 10 years from now. Give them a mission, and they will move mountains. Give them a rule book, and they'll write a better one. But they're not all theory. When inspired, Aquarius can be shockingly effective. They can take a wild idea and turn it into a tangible plan. They're organized in their own way, often keeping track of a dozen variables at once. They might seem scattered at first glance, but there is a method to their madness. They understand complexity and can weave seemingly unrelated concepts into cohesive innovation. And they never stop learning. Aquarians are information sponges. They read everything, question everything, and file away insights for future use. What seems like a random interest today might become a key part of a major breakthrough tomorrow. They trust their curiosity to lead them somewhere worthwhile. Lifelong learning isn't just a goal, it's a lifestyle. They also have a strong sense of fairness. They hate injustice with a passion, and they won't stay quiet when something feels wrong. They speak up even if their voice shakes, even if no one else agrees. Because at their core, Aquarians are guided by principles. They believe in equality, in innovation that serves the many, not the few. They're rebels, yes, but righteous ones. Friendship is another realm where they shine. They may not always be the warmest or most emotionally expressive, but they are loyal in their own way. They show up. They support your weird ideas. They encourage your individuality, and they'll challenge you to grow. If you have an Aquarius in your life, you know they don't just accept you, they expand you. They introduce you to ideas, philosophies, and perspectives that open your mind. And yes, they can be stubborn. Once they've decided something is right, it's hard to change their mind. But that conviction, it comes from deep thought. They don't just form opinions on a whim. They investigate, they analyze, they synthesize. And when they land on something, they believe it with everything they've got. Their stubbornness is usually the product of a well-reasoned conclusion. Their sense of humor is underrated too. It's often dry, clever, and unexpected. They love irony, paradoxes, and poking holes in hypocrisy. They're the ones who will drop a one-liner that leaves the whole room thinking and laughing at the same time. They see the absurdity in the human condition, and they find a way to make it funny. Aquarius is a paradox, detached yet deeply caring, distant yet loyal, rebellious yet visionary. They live in their heads but dream for the world. And no matter how different they seem, they remind us of something essential, that progress requires imagination. That change starts with a question, that the future isn't just something we wait for, it's something we create. So the next time you meet an Aquarius, don't dismiss their wild ideas. Don't try to pull them back down to earth. Instead, listen, ask questions. Let them take you on that mental ride through the next version of everything. Because while most people are trying to keep up with the present, Aquarius is already sketching out the future, 10 steps ahead and counting. And maybe, just maybe, if you're lucky enough to be part of their world, you'll start to see it too.